I'm curious to get your take. Do you think I should list prices? I wonder if conversion rates would be higher if I didn't list them.
I think another option is to not say exact price, but to do what they do with like restaurants and stuff, to put like multiple different dollar signs. Like it's from your perspective too. It's like, okay, this is like a $1 $1 sign host. This is 3, this is 4.
I like that so much better.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode, another installment of the series where we rebuild Craylor's website. Christian Taylor, if you don't know him, you should already be subscribed to him, all in the description, everything like that. I want to preface this really quick as we start this next episode here. We have not filmed one of these episodes in a while because I was on a family vacation, as you can see by my sunburned, suntan skin, and Christian was gallivanting in Europe at a couple different places, one of them being WordPress, WordCamp EU. So, yeah, so it's been a little bit, but we're back at it here, and we have a lot to cover, so hopefully you guys are staying tuned and everything like that. If you have any questions too, I'm sure I've said this before, but if you have any questions, please leave them down in the description or in the comment section. We are trying to make this like a full like series, so you see everything, even though some of the pieces might be kind of like, you know, you might see some things that are a little bit repetitive, so to speak, us making custom post types. But I really do think that it's important, especially if you're newer, to understand how these things actually go. And do them, not just do them though, but to actually think about and process the reasons that we're doing some of these things, specifically in the data architecture. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of that, more of that today. Christian, do you have any updates for us as far as the project goes? I think there's at least one.
Yeah, so the new logo or icon, I guess, is in progress. We're working with the designer on that. We have a couple options that we've already previewed, and we're tweaking it, giving feedback, and working on finalizing, but I'm super stoked for the rebrand.
Oh yeah, nice. So that's going to come into play here as we go to the front end of everything. But today we want to just bang out a couple more custom post types, possibly some options pages here, just to kind of get the data architecture almost complete, I want to say. So we can just dive right back into it. We, as you can see there on the left-hand sidebar, we're using JetEngine to create a lot of them, and I think we could just go to another one, and we'll just go to post types there on the left.
I already screwed that up.
It's all good. And then we go to add new. And then, so last time we were talking about this a little bit before we went live here, so to speak, is we had love and we had mentions. So mentions is currently the working title for the post type of any time that Christian gets mentioned in some sort of exterior, you know, external publication or YouTube video or anything like that. So then you can easily have that all, you know, set up and not categorized, but like, you know, set in a custom post type. So you're able to display that in different places on the website, and specifically wherever we are trying to show that type of information, because it adds to brand credibility. Yeah. So yeah, so we just have our single name, and then we have our tab trick. Boom, boom, boom. Love that.
So satisfying on a mechanical keyboard.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Advanced settings. I think we're going to be, so this is, again, going back to our progression of how we think about this. We're probably going to have, so if we think about mentions, right, we're thinking about, it would basically be, how do you envision this? You envision like a list of videos and articles and other types of pieces of content that you are either, you know, maybe you got interviewed, maybe you got, you know, featured in, and do we think it's probably most likely, at least like the first iteration of it, would probably be like a page or a screen that has all of that on it, right? And then when they click to it, does it just go externally to that piece of content, or do you think it has its own single?
No, I don't think it needs a single. I'm envisioning, I don't know if this is possible on the front end, but almost like masonry style. Maybe there's like a text box version that we come up with, and maybe if it's just a video, it's like a thumbnail with a play button and a title below it, but just some way of visualizing a grid of, I could do like a quote in an article or the video thumbnail, but in any case, I think for sure linking out to it and not having a single.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, so then for that, let's uncheck publicly queryable. Okay. Let's do that for right now. And we again, we could change these, but let's just do it like that, because we'll have an archive. I believe that's already, yeah, we'll have the archive, and that will be where our mentions live. And then we'll get creative, and we'll just link each one of those little cards, if you will, to the actual external resource, rather than clicking on them and going to somewhere on the website. And honestly, I want to interject this here. This is kind of, I would say, the MVP for a lot of the times when you're doing a custom post type like this, because maybe one day you want to come back in here and you want to write your own like write up and your summary and have your own single of like, oh, I was on this interview, da da da. This is like, maybe you would want to do that, but you don't need to do that every single time. And it's better if you're not going to utilize those singles for all of those different things. It's better to not have those screens, those pages, those URLs created, because if they're not, then they're just like in your index of, like in your sitemap, and it's just, there's nothing at those pages. It literally is just going to say the title if you don't, edit it at all. So that's really important. Okay, so we have those links there, title, editor. Definitely need a title. And for our editor, probably don't need the editor for this, because I envision a link to the actual piece of content. And maybe like obviously a title, but like maybe a description thing that we could have in our own field. So let's go down to the new meta field here and list out to me real quick in your mind, Christian, what you think. Like, can you think of like a couple different categories or types? Like are we thinking like a YouTube video? So like a YouTube link?
Yeah.
Are we thinking like, do you have like any interviews on random websites? Like what are we thinking?
I think like YouTube videos, podcasts. Maybe I have been featured in articles before as both like a direct quote, or I've done guest articles on other websites. Okay. That's probably fine to be the same thing. I think essentially we need the ability to do thumbnails for both videos and podcasts, and we need the ability to show a snippet, like a quick quote from an article.
Gotcha. And are you fine with manually, well, at least for the time being, like manually putting those in? So you got to kind of work backwards sometimes, right? So imagine this is done and we click on add new mention.
Yep.
And then you would have a title. You would have, I think we should probably go back up for a second and turn on featured image right there then, because that'll probably be our, thumbnail.
Perfect. Yep.
So you're adding new mention, you have your title. So it's like, for a YouTube video, maybe the title of the YouTube video or something like that, or whatever you want. You add a thumbnail, which we can configure on the front end. And then when they click that thumbnail, we need a link. So those are our three things so far. And then also a description, we're thinking?
Yeah, I'd probably call it like a snippet, maybe.
Okay. We could, again, I think we talked about this before. We could use some of the built-in things like excerpt or whatever, but honestly, I just never do that. I don't, you could do your own discretion, like, viewers at home, if you want to do that or whatever. We're just going to make some fields because it's a little more direct and shows you a little bit more of what you can do. So we have title, we have featured image. We'll have those in there. And you don't have to use the featured image, I guess, if it doesn't matter. But yeah, link or whatever you want to put there. Text.
Is that just text? I always forget.
Yeah, it's still just text, yeah.
Okay.
And then you could do required, because honestly, it doesn't, like, none of them would ever not have that, right?
Right.
So, and then we want to add a new one. We could go, again, if you want to do like snippet or whatever. And then I would probably go WYSIWYG, just because I always like to be able to format. And then, yeah, if you want to make that required, you can. If you think every single one will have it. If not, then you just leave it.
Yeah, I think not required, because if I have a video with a thumbnail, I'm probably not going to have a snippet. It would just be thumbnail, title, and then they can click out to it.
I think we're good.
Sweet. All
cool.
Right.
Lovely. All right, we have a new one there. And then our next one that we have is videos. Now, before we do this real quick, because there's videos and tools left on our list, let me just go back to the videos thing for a second, because this could be done many different ways, and I want to revisit how you currently have this done, to what extent. I think you have a plugin, and it automatically just like calls the YouTube API and just shows them, right?
Yes.
And basically it's a grid of videos that this part, it gets difficult. I've tried to do it on mine, and like there's a bunch of different ways. Do you want to like manage this, or do you want to, like, what's your vision for the video thing? I think we were talking, you don't want every video on there?
Yeah, I don't want it to be a copy paste of my YouTube watch page. I just don't really see the point in that. I'd rather people go to my YouTube channel. I think the use case here is there might be times that I want a single for a video. I may want to embed the video essentially like a post. I mean, maybe I really could just use posts, but embedding the video at the top of the page, having a write-up based on my findings, especially for some of my comparison videos if I want like a table or something that has all the data that someone can weed through. So I think that's the use case for me, much more than, oh, I want a page that's got a grid and automatically indexes all of my videos.
Got it. All right. So not going to be every single YouTube video you put on. You're not going to
Correct.
put everyone over here.
No.
Even though I will, again, I'll inject this in a second. If you wanted to do that, or if you listening, if you wanted to do that, I would recommend, I have a video on it on my channel, but I would recommend looking into probably not a plugin, like, because there's ways that you could automate, like you could call the YouTube API with like an N8N or something like that. You could pull in the data and then put it in like a videos post type. And then you would literally have like a one-to-one mapping where you could have all that and you have a single. If that's not what you want to do, because sometimes that's overkill, sometimes it's unnecessary, sometimes you just have more videos than you really want to have on your website. I'm torn right now on this videos concept because we talked about, I'm pretty sure at one point, blog, right? And this is the WordPress conundrum, right?
Yep.
There's posts.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm going to ask you again, I think I asked you before, do you envision having a blog?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. Any form of blog that I do is going to be through a video single or an event single or a testimonial. I don't see a world in which I have a blog for the sake of a blog. It's
Gotcha.
always going to be tied to one of these post types.
Okay. Because you bring up an interesting point. We could use the posts for this and just like, kind of edit it, add fields to it or whatever. And I think then the real difference would be that it's just going to be like slash, most likely, the way that permalinks normally work is just slash whatever. You don't have to add the blog. We could do that, but we don't have to do that. I'm just wondering, like, how many, if you could snap your fingers right now and you could have all of the videos in your mind that you want to have on here, how many do you think it would be?
That's tough. It would be mostly my comparison videos. Those are maybe 30% of my content. I mean, are we talking lifetime here? Like looking at my current catalog?
I mean, it's your website, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like just new videos. You could backfill. So.
Yeah. If it was like lifetime comparisons that I made, maybe 100.
I think I personally always default to using custom post type. I'm just trying to go through the progressions here because at some point you may want a blog. And if you wanted a proper blog where you're just like occasionally writing some random thoughts down, because it is kind of like I don't know if it's specifically your personal website, but it is a version of your personal brand. Like you may one day want that. And I don't want to like take that and co-opt it if all of these are going to be videos. Like that's what we're thinking of. Mm-hmm. And I do think that the other way we think about it is /videos, right? That's our archive.
Yeah.
What do you envision that page to be? That's going to be like just a big, basically card list of all of them, right?
That's a good question. Think you have that? Yeah. I almost am not even interested in that page. I might want to do, this is a whole can of worms, but almost maybe like a mega menu and just different cases at which I would link to videos. Like maybe I have I don't know. Okay, this is getting, here we go again with like overthinking this.
These
whole
are
thing.
The questions that you have to ask when you're dealing with client projects.
Yeah.
Just so you know, everyone out there, you should be having these conversations.
Yeah. No, so I'm thinking, okay, I do not see a world in which /videos just shows every video in this post type. I probably would want categories. So maybe I do want to bring up all my comparisons, or maybe all my comparisons within VPNs. Like maybe someone can just, there's a mega menu and it's like comparisons, VPN, and it just brings up all the thumbnails for those comparisons, or maybe not. Maybe I would just go to the latest VPN comparison and that goes straight to the single. So I guess if anything, I might want to recall the post type based on the category, which is kind of sounding like just using the post tab potentially, or I would go straight to the single. I don't see just showing all of the videos on a page.
Well, you don't have to do that. Your archive doesn't have to just be like a big grid of everything. It could be organized. It could still be /videos and it could still do that. We could, you can template that out however you want. So I think for the most direct way, we just create this videos custom post type because, you could always change things later. I don't like using the posts and then commandeering that.
Yeah.
If I can avoid it, because you never know what the future is going to hold. Maybe one day you want to start blogging randomly. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I get that. I kind of have the same reservation of the post tab is supposed to be for blogging, so
Yeah.
hijacking it for something else feels kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. I don't know of any, I'll throw this in there. I don't claim to be a prophet here. If there's any reason to not do that, please leave that down in the comments below. But I think that this is kind of a 6 1/2 dozen approach mostly in a lot of ways. I don't think there's any, crazy performance problems or anything like that. Happy to be proven wrong. But I think that this is just almost like a personal preference and just a data organizational type thing here for the most part. And there's more than one way to do things. So I think this is probably going to be the best given all of our, what you're trying to achieve here. Yeah, so if we keep heading down here, all that should be good for this one. If you want to change there should definitely be some decent video ones in there somewhere. All right, so title and editor. Okay, so this is going to be slightly tough, right? So envisioning the data that you want for these videos. So these are videos that live on your YouTube channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So down in our meta fields, when we get there, we're going to have a YouTube link and all that. But like for this top part, we definitely need a title. That'll just come from there. The editor is always tough because what do you envision a single looking like for your video?
The single has to be editable because I would want to get into rich elements like having a table on the page and having maybe even I might go really crazy and have a filterable table or sorting, or I think just ways to present data and allow people to weed through it.
So a couple thoughts there. There's kind of I would say there's essentially two paths. The first thing is like you can either use the editor, right? If we keep the editor toggled on there, then you're using the block editor. You have that as an available field, more or less, like a thing that you can do, and you can reference that data when you go to add a new video. The way that you're describing is interesting because I think we talked about this before. I don't know if we turned it on for any of the other ones, but like you can customize the way that you're building each single, right? I think we did mention this, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you envision every single one of these singles being completely different from a template approach though? I feel like it'll, like, for lack of a better way to describe this, it's like it might be that the title will be at the top, and then maybe like a date of the video or something, maybe, and then a little caption about the actual thing, like or an iframe video thing of the video there, and then underneath that is like text. It's basically a blog post, sort of, right? The blog post vibe of your write-up of the video, and maybe some tables and different things like that. But that's all on one video, like best browsers or something like that. You might actually be better off trying to build that, at least at first, within the WordPress editor.
Yeah.
Because then you could just drop in a post content thing into your template and it'll just pull out everything from the editor. I just don't know what the editor limitations would be when you're trying to do the things that you're describing. That might be something we have to just experiment with at that point. You're talking like literal comparison tables. And I mean, you could do it in both, obviously, but this is just kind of like an interesting case where if you want that on more than one of them, you might want to try to keep it sort of more standard like this and do everything in the block editor. So that's where you actually control that piece of that data.
Yeah.
Rather than doing every single one individually, because it's not like the whole page, like the whole URL in that case is going to be completely different, I imagine. It's just like the content portion. I think what we have to do is possibly table this until we get to this part, because we could always change it here. And it's not gonna make sense until we start building out some of the templates, which we should get to, if not at the end of this episode, definitely, next episode, I feel like. So
Gotcha.
What I would do here is in that, where you're at right now in that select option, I would add thumbnail.
Yep.
Because that is probably going to be our YouTube thumbnail that you can bring in. And then in the not that one, but in the meta fields up above that, we could talk about columns at some point too, but columns are interesting. But meta fields, I would say here you would probably want like the YouTube video URL or whatever, because we're gonna need, so we have our title, we have our thumbnail, we have our YouTube our URL here, and actually good idea to not put YouTube in there just in case it ever is a different thing.
Yeah, maybe YouTube implodes.
Yeah, seriously.
I think that's fair to make that required.
Probably required.
Yeah. I'm way overthinking this. I'm like, what if I ever host it on my own website with Presto Player? Then there is no video URL. Cause
I think there would still be something that you would need to put in there. It might be a short code rather or something, but it's totally fine. And so we have title. We'll leave the editor in there for now. We have the featured image. We have the thing. Do you want like a specific, if you published a video, you know, I don't know, 2 years ago on December 2nd, do you want that to be on that page at all, do you think?
Yes, that is a great point.
Okay, so there's like multiple different ways to handle dates, obviously. You could do like the day that the thing was published, like the actual post in WordPress. But if we're backlogging things and doing all that, it's obviously not going to be the same unless you set the post thing to it. I just don't think that's normally a good way when it's something that's definitely not going to change. So I think what we should probably do here is just make a field that is like the publish date of the video, not of the actual content, not of this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, and then I would say I always go date time just because it's always easier to, and I would save it as a timestamp just in case you ever want to do like if we want to sort based on that, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
I think that's normally I talk about this another time, but date time is if you save it as date time, it's like a full Unix like little string thing rather than just date, just time. And even though time isn't important, it's still just easier if you just always do it like this. So I'd click that delete metadata thing on the right hand side.
Every single time it gets me.
They should have it by default. And I think that's going to be it for us, right? I can't think of anything else right now. Okay, I think we're good on that. All right, so now for the
grand finale. This is what started this entire thing.
This is actually the most important part of the whole thing right here. Yeah. All right, so this is a big one.
This is huge.
Tools, right? So if you want to do tool and go all the way down there on that, that's cool. We can get to the bottom, start making some decisions here. So advanced settings, this is, okay, so again, the vision for the tools, I know you have like a little bit of it now. You probably don't want to have, like maybe you don't want to have slash tools is probably not just going to show all of the tools. That'd probably be slightly overwhelming. I don't know if you want that or not, but regardless, it doesn't matter. We're going to have an archive. It's either going to be all the tools or it's going to be, give them the option to like filter or whatever, you know, something like that. And then it's definitely going to have a single. Yes?
Yes.
Or no?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay, so we should be all good on the defaults there for the most part. And then, I don't know if you want to try to think of a good tool. Yeah, it's a wrench. All right, so title and probably, so the tough part about this is like, you could do thumbnail, and I would recommend doing thumbnail. It just kind of makes it like more annoying. So what I mean is like, let's say that you have one for friend of the show, grade, right? So let's say you have grade on your website. When you go to share /tools/grade, it's going to have, by default, you can always change this stuff, but by default, it's going to show whatever is in your featured image or thumbnail thing. But again, as we know, it's like kind of a 16:9, like whatever.
Yeah.
The best way, if you're doing this at home, the best way to do this is to have a dedicated, you know, OG like open graph thumbnail thing that you put in there. And that is, you know, whatever thing, you know, you could generate those, do whatever. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to have more fields we're going to have a shit ton of fields in this one. Like we're going to have fields in here where it's like logos, and the logos aren't necessarily going to show up perfectly in that view because they're probably going to like look a little wonky.
Yeah.
So if I'm telling you how to do this and you want to do it completely right, I would turn on thumbnail featured image like that.
Okay.
And then for that, I don't know how often those pages are going to get shared, but if you wanted to share a specific tool single on your website, then that is going to be the feature that by default, that's the thing that pops up in those previews on social or whatever.
Right.
So I would probably say to manage that as well as you can, because that's what's going to be there. Otherwise, it's just going to pull a random image, or you're going to have to set something up like slightly differently. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, real quick, hope you're enjoying the rebuild so far. Just wanted to take a moment to say that this would not have been possible without our series sponsor, BigScoots. They've been providing top-tier managed hosting since 2010, and they're not your typical hosting company. BigScoots owns their entire tech stack, from the servers to the network to the data center, which means faster load times, stronger security, and the ability to customize solutions for your specific site. And if you ever need any help, you can get connected to a real WordPress expert in under 90 seconds, 24/7. And by the way, right now is the perfect time to try BigScoots because they were kind enough to give you, the lovely viewers of my channel, a special offer. If you're a new BigScoots client, you can get 98% off your first 2 months on any of their managed hosting plans. All you have to do is click the link down in the description below and use promo code MJS for monthly plans or MJS Annual for annual plans when you check out. Again, that's 2 months of premium hosting for pennies, which is basically no risk. If you've been looking to improve your hosting setup, show BigScoots some love for supporting valuable content like this and give their managed hosting a try today. Now, let's get back to building. So that should be good for us. We're going to come back to the editor. Well, let me ask you the question, the $1 million question. When you look at it, when you click into a tool, specifically the single of that tool, what does your mind currently see right now?
Maybe potentially tying back to videos that it was featured in, a brief description. I'm trying to think about those affiliate sites, maybe like a basic section that's got like logo, the product name. Well, that's kind of redundant with what the top of the page is going to be, but I don't know, maybe like logo, maybe like a snippet of like why I like the tool, almost like a quotable thing, and then like a learn more, buy now. I don't know, some sort of call to action button.
So I'm going to say it now. This is the one of the most complex ones, just because the amount of content. It's not complex in the way that we do it, but it's complex because like the vision you just described there. There's a lot of moving parts there. So this will probably be something we have to come back to, just as your vision changes when we get to the front end. So what I would say though for the minimum viable is we need a meta field, and that at least one of the meta fields needs to be like logo. Now this is where it gets tough, right? Mm-hmm. So your website in your mind is light or dark? Or both?
Yes. Both. It's ideally both. One thing I want to say is, wasn't our intention with the partners field to sort of serve that role?
Indeed. Can you remind me of that? Because I remember this was an interesting take that I was going to implement on my own thing and did not do.
Stupid. I didn't save that.
All good.
So partners, the idea here was, a partner could be an event, it could be a tool, it could be a mention. So the idea was like, this is an entity.
This is the brand.
Yes, this is the brand.
More or
and
less.
Then that gets pulled over into the tool, the event, the mention. So potentially if, really the idea behind this was, let's use a web host, for example. There are often multiple plans out of web hosts that I might recommend specifically. So instead of doing it would be 3 tools, but instead of uploading that web host's logo 3 times and choosing it in all those fields, I can simply reference the partner in all of those tools. And the other relation there that was important to me is being able to click like, show me all the tools by Hostinger. And if I recommend 2 plans and then like Hostinger Horizons is another product that I like, they could just see like, what Hostinger products does Christian recommend?
Thank you for reminding me, because I totally forgot about this, even though this is a great idea. So couple thoughts here now that I'm hearing it again. This is going to work. However, I was wondering just one specific thing as we go back to that. For the tools, are we saying though, like, let's use an example. I guess we'll continue with Hostinger. So Hostinger would be the partner. Underneath Hostinger would be a couple different products.
Yep.
Do those products ever have their own individual like graphic though? Like, could you ever consider that being a thing? Can you think of an example where that is the case? Where obviously Hostinger has their main brand thing, right?
Yeah.
But like maybe there's a part of the, I don't know, maybe they have a product with a logo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like Hostinger Horizons, I think they have a. I mean, it's kind of like its
is that important to you? Like, is that right there?
Yeah. I'm really torn on that. I think, if I have to choose one, I'm going to say yes. I would rather have that option than not. In practice, though, I just don't know. I mean, even like this icon, I think that's, unless they like rebranded or something. Yeah, I mean, so this even is like a different visual than the regular Hostinger icon. And maybe I would determine, okay, maybe Hostinger Horizons is a different partner. I don't know.
How many examples of this exist?
I don't know that there's many that are like that clear cut. I mean, if we look at another host, every web host, there may be like 2 plans that I recommend, like, for WooCommerce or general, but like WP Engine, their brand is basically the same across all of their products. So I think if I were to recommend ACF or local, I would set that up as a different partner, even though it's technically the same parent company. So I think that is a very edge case that a partner would have, like a product would have its own separate logo from the partner.
Okay, so that part is edge case. How many partners have multiple tools?
That's tough. I think
I'm wondering.
in the realm of web hosts, that's pretty common. But if we're talking like VPNs, password managers, email hosting, it's probably going to be one and done.
Okay, well, we can rock with this because, again, I feel like this is an interesting way. Just remind me, though, real quick. Did we say that we were going to have like a /partners and then each partner was going to have a single? Do you remember?
Yeah, similar to the whole videos thing, I don't really want a partners archive where someone could see all of the partners, but I do want a partner single, at least as an option. So someone could click, like on a tools single, they could click Hostinger and they could see all of Hostinger's tools.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, so let's do this then. So we're on tools, and so we don't need an extra logo.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, we can always add that back if we need it. So then, what do we actually need on our tools? You're specifically, when you're calling something out here, you're specifically calling out that individual tool. So you might need like a little, I don't know, like why I like it or Christian's take or something. I don't.
Yeah. It should be Craylor's take.
Craylor's take, exactly. I'm going to stop calling you Christian.
Sweet. Are you allowed to have an apostrophe in a name?
I would take it out. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't like that it does that. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be. Okay, I would go WYSIWYG again, just because that's me. And if you want to make it required, you can. Scroll up for me, though, real quick. Did we put the advanced settings?
Mm-hmm.
Did we do the? Did we say we were going to do the thumbnail on this one? Because I know we had to redo this.
We did, yes, and yeah, that's not. Okay. It's not added. And I'll change this to our wrench.
There we go. Lovely. All right. So Craylor's take, and so that's one piece of it. Is there any other, like, the way you have to think about this, again, for you guys at home, is you have to think about the data that you're going to use on every single one of the singles. So not like, individual stuff or whatever. If you ever want to do like something, we could have another field for, description or whatever. But is there any, like, I always think about it as like literally a table, but not literally a table, but in that concept's like this bit of information, and then what is the specific answer or the information that relates to this tool.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want pricing on there. That would be an example. I'm not saying you have to have that.
Yeah, no, I do want pricing. This is a huge can of worms to open, but that's kind of what we're good at in these videos. If hypothetically I wanted to distinguish between annual and monthly pricing, because all of these vendors give an annual discount, but they often will display the price month to month. This is ridiculous, and I don't know if I want to go this deep down the rabbit hole with the front-end design, but hypothetically speaking, could we have, like how companies have that little switch, the little like pill on their pricing tables, could we do that for the tools page where you could switch between like annual and monthly and the price that's displayed on every tool changes?
So let me make sure I understand. So like, are you thinking all on the same page?
Yeah. So like, right. We've all seen pricing pages. The price changes when you switch between monthly and annual. I'm thinking this type of control, and I'm seeing now the drop down isn't showing, which is kind of weird on Riverside, but it's just a browser drop down. Like this type of tool on the tools page, and someone could choose, I want to see the monthly price or the annual price. And like every single price that's listed on every tool would asynchronously change.
Okay, so you're saying like a page just like this, and you have 100 tools on it?
Yes.
And then it changes?
Yes.
So the exact same thing that you see here, just with more tools, 100% could be done.
Yep. Okay.
What was really interesting that I thought you were going to say was you change it on the archive, and then on the singles it changes. I don't think.
No, I mean,
a way.
Yeah, that's probably getting into like cookies and all sorts of craziness.
I think a better way there would just be to have both of them displayed, maybe on the single if you want them. The only thing that I would caution you on this is I do think that this is a cool thing to have. It's just like you either need to ideally you'd want it to update automatically, but that would be I don't even know where to begin with an automation there. The second thing is like you have to realize that you're probably going to have to like monitor these a little bit, and make sure you're checking them. But the third thing is like you can do it. I would just say monitor them and like put a byline somewhere that says, this price, check. This is like our last updated price that we saw. Like this isn't like just to cover your ass type thing. Just be like, hey, we try to keep these as updated as possible, but check the website obviously for most updated pricing.
Yeah. Here's more of like a business discussion, but I'm curious to get your take. Do you think I should list prices? Or is like, I wonder if conversion rates would be higher if I didn't list them, and like they're already on their landing page, they already feel a little bit more invested in the product. I don't know.
I think I don't know the answer to that question. I have no data, but I think another option is to not say exact price, but to do what they do with like restaurants and stuff, to put like multiple different dollar signs and just like it's from your perspective too. It's like, okay, this is like a a 1-star $1 sign host. This is 3. This is 4, and then like you just go like click here to see the actual pricing, and that just takes them with your affiliate link to the thing.
I like that so much better.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a middle ground. That might be kind of like give them a little bit of a taste, but it's not actually the exact thing, and you don't have to really update anything.
Yeah.
So if we were going to do that,
maybe like price tier.
Yeah. So
I guess this is just text.
Well, if we want to do this, let's think about it. So it's actually going to be multiple. It's going to be radio, or it's going to be select, whatever one you kind of prefer.
Okay. Is there a functional difference?
I would probably just stick with radio, but no, not really.
Okay, yeah, radio is fine.
And then we probably are never. Do you think we're ever going to use this again? This set of things, probably not.
What do you mean by using it again?
So the only reason I mean that is when on the source thing there, you can say manual input, or there's some. This is getting deeper into JetEngine, but let me just explain this real quick. Glossary query builder would be like you grab it from a query and you could do that. The only reason I ask are we going to use it again is because if you were in this situation and you're going to use this set of things again, this set of options, then you could make it a glossary in JetEngine, and then think of that as just like something that you could use in multiple places and have one source of truth from.
Gotcha.
So if you had like if you had like cars, boats, and airplanes or something, and you were going to use it in 3 different ways, then you could create a glossary. I would recommend creating a glossary, doing $1 sign 2, 3, 4, and then using that same glossary in different sources throughout those 3 custom post types. I don't think we're going to do that here. I don't think we have a reason to do that. But,
is there a downside to make a glossary though?
No.
I don't see why we shouldn't do it.
Let's do it then. Let's make sure we save this or just open in a new tab. Because we're going to go to a different spot to make a glossary here. JetEngine, I think. New tab. And then glossaries on the left.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
New glossary. And then, so you can, this is just a name of it. So I would say, price tier. And then data source, it should just be, set
manual. There's manual and then uploaded from a file.
Yeah. So this is where we create them. So field value. So I'm not sure if like we should actually make the values the dollar signs. Like for field label, we'd want to go like $1 sign.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe field value is a number. That make sense?
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can put a dollar sign in there. You probably can, but it doesn't matter. So then I would say
that
2.
Seems like a terrible idea with PHP.
Yeah. And then 3. And I don't know how many of these you want. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, 3, I'm torn. 5. I'm like, do I make 4? Do I? I feel like I need at least 4. I think 5 might be excessive.
Gotcha.
I could always come back and add it though.
Yeah. Cool. And then that's just is checked. So you don't have to have any of those on, but like if you wanted to have one of them by default, but in your case, it's probably just.
Yeah, I think forcing myself to have to select one is more logical.
Yep. Cool. And then if we go back now to post types, I don't know if it's going to automatically show us that. So we may have to.
X'd it out. Let's see. Yeah, no. Okay. So we'll do add post type. Are we going to screw anything up by adding it?
As long as our things at the top are right, like tools and everything like that, that's the only part that really gets like kind of annoying when you change stuff. Yeah, so it should be good.
Sweet.
Lit.
Okay. So it should already be.
Yeah, if you go there and then
that out. But okay, let's see. Where were we going? Oh yeah, select glossary. Yep. Price tier. Okay.
Hell yeah. That
And
just
then
means
there's
horizontal
vertical,
or
horizontal. I'll do
yeah.
vertical.
Yeah. Cool.
This will be required. Oh,
Let's
okay.
hear it.
This is a whole. Here we go.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Should I have a free label? Like, should it explicitly say free in text? Or do you think it's logical that $1 could mean free?
So that's a good question. What I have on mine, I don't know if it's fully implemented, but because I want to do the pricing thing, my pricing options was free, freemium, or premium, or like paid or something.
Okay.
Like this. Free,
Yeah.
free, freemium, or paid. You could take it one step further, and you could do a couple things. One, I think you definitely, if you have a lot of free tools that you talk about, you definitely need to have some sort of signifier that it
Yes.
has something for free. The problem is free is not a good business model, and free isn't sustainable whatsoever. And a lot of tools, not every tool, obviously there's some free shit out there that's perfectly free and you never pay for it, right? But like how much of that is really the case? So I almost think of it more as like, every tool that we talk about is probably paid.
Yeah.
Like to some degree, it probably has a paid version. So then the question is, what's more likely? Is it definitely have paid or is it definitely have free? I would say it's probably more likely that it definitely has paid.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like the question becomes, okay, that is the price tier because it's paid. So then there's another thing. It's like, is it also free? Like, does it have a free version? Is there a free element to it? This is really going to be dependent on what you're talking about, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so with that information, how do you feel about the products or tools that you think are going to be on here?
I do feel like I have a fair amount of free products that I recommend, but you're making me realize that they really are freemium.
Right.
Or they have a free plan and you can upgrade. So I don't really know what to do with that. We could add another field that's like has free version. It's just like a checkbox. Yeah, it's like, is it right to be like, this is free if it's like a very introductory plan and most people are going to want to upgrade? I don't know, but I also do like the idea of having a filter on the page that's like, show me free tools.
I think that's super important.
Yeah.
I think maybe the easiest and cleanest way is that we have another field that says, there's a million ways to do it, but another field that's like a checkbox, like we said there, or it's probably maybe like a rate. Trying to think of like the best way to do it. It could be like radio, just like a yes or a no. But the concept of the field is you are activating that field if the tool has, again, like you can get super granular if you wanted to be like a full review website, but like does it have a free plan / a free trial / something? I don't know. That's sort of a, to me, that's being really detail oriented. That's kind of different.
Yeah. No, it is. Man, yeah. It's do we want to distinguish a trial versus forever free versus even like a tool that legitimately is free, like WordPress, the .org is free. That's it. There is no paid version, but most tools are probably going to be freemium.
Yeah.
Man, this is deep.
Yeah, it doesn't, this is where I start to get just constantly overanalyzing it.
Yep,
I would say that you
too.
need to have that for the minimum viable product of this, you need to have some level of something where you can click and like you said, I think that's an interesting thing. Like, show me the free tools. Yeah. And it just shows you everything that has some level of free to it. Maybe.
I just think I would be upset as a visitor if free trials were included in that. So for me, the distinction is, do I want a field to say like, yes, this has a trial, no, it doesn't? I think I do. I think that's a logical thing to put on the page. There's a number of ways we could do that. We could just say like trial, yes, no with a checkbox. We could be like, how many days is the trial? And maybe if I enter 0, then the logic is there is no trial. I'm not really sure there, but I think that's probably a separate field. And I would not check this free plan box if something has a trial, but they don't have a forever free option.
I'm thinking then the only other thing is I guess we just leave this as another field. The only other option that I'm thinking in my mind is we change that glossary situation to a checkbox rather than radio, because radio you only click one, and then you're able to click free and like a price thing. But I don't really like that because it's gonna now we have like it's like an array of data and it's gonna be like really annoying to deal with. I think your thought is this is a tool. It is 1 to 4 on dollar signs when you pay for it, like, just in general. It's like really expensive, not expensive, whatever, in your perspective. But also, there's another layer, there's another piece of data there that's like, oh, it does have a free plan.
Yeah. Well, and here's where this gets complicated is, in my mind, a tool is like a specific plan on a website. And that's why I wanted the partners ability is like, I might enter a tool that's like the free plan. And then I might enter another tool for the same exact company that's the paid plan. Because I personally even like breaking out, like, these are the plans. I'll just pick on web hosting again. Like, this is the paid plan at this web host that's worth your money. Sometimes there might be multiple of those. And like these other ones over here that they also sell, I don't recommend.
Okay.
So I don't know that a tool would need that. Like, there's a free plan, but there's also a $1 sign plan, but there's also a $2 sign plan. I think that kind of goes against the concept with the partners thing.
Okay, so how does that change things for us then? So like, do we not need that field at all? Or again, the easiest way to do this would be to kind of like literally do an example.
Yeah,
kind of work backwards there.
What I think it might look like is we add free as a price tier, and then we have a free trial checkbox. Or
as a separate field.
Yeah, or like days long of free trial, if I want to say like 30-day free trial, 14-day free trial. Yeah, because I just don't see a world in which a tool is both free and paid, because I think I might enter that as two tools. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Like, is that the right approach? But in my head, I wanted to be like, like, for example, Yoast SEO. I've used the free version of Yoast indefinitely. I've never paid for it. So I always recommend people use the free version. I guess I could also list in the same tool that there's a paid option. Maybe that's more logical than like, why do you have 2 Yoast SEO listings on your website? But if I'm also not recommending the paid option, maybe I don't even want to call that out.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's probably, if you're not gonna call them out, then yeah, I probably would say just like be a little bit more lax, like on the data, like not like put a bunch of stuff in there. And I'm not sure if this is going to solve this, but I do have another thread that came to mind when you were talking about the number of days of free trial. So what percentage of the tools that you have on the tools in the tools, library, what percentage of them do you have deals for? Like Craylor deals?
Yeah, maybe 40%.
Okay, because like that's another thing that we're gonna have to think about. I don't know if that goes. To me, it probably goes in the tools, like as a field,
like a promo code type situation.
Yeah. Like, well, it's not just a promo code though. I mean, well, it could be a promo code unless it's a specific link. It's either a link or a promo code generally, right? But the other thing is like you really want to call this out. Like if they click on /tools/XYZ tool, and you have a code for that, and you're giving them an exclusive deal, you could actually put a whole deals page as well, like a whole deals thing. We could
that's a good
have
point.
that separately. But on the tool itself, you definitely want to call it out.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is tangential to what we're talking about. You definitely need that in here. So maybe we should add a field real quick for that.
Yeah.
I don't know, an example though would be like, I feel like you probably want to write, maybe say like Craylor deal, Craylor discount or something. And then do we think is it, of all the ones that you have, is it standardized enough where it could be just like a percentage? Is it like a certain amount of like a free trial, extended free trial? Like, does it have to be like basically text, or can it be like a number, so to speak?
It's almost always a percentage. I mean, there's a VPN that you get an extra month free, but it's the same price. You just get a longer duration of account. So it might have to be text.
Yeah, I don't know if discount is necessarily the
Maybe it's
if it's not a
deal.
yeah, something like that. I don't know. And then I would say, this is just describing it to me, So it's like if you're gonna keep it text, then you just type in there like, hey, get a free month. You'd have a little section on the page. It says Craylor
Yeah.
deal or something. Then underneath it says get a free month, free whatever. And then that would show up all dynamically. And then right underneath that, we'd probably have a button that says get this deal or something. I don't know, something like that. And that we would need a link for that if that's different than your affiliate link. Is it always your affiliate link?
Yeah, I think it would be one and the same.
Okay. All right. Well, we actually didn't add that yet, so that's really important.
Yeah, no, but thought while we're on the deal thread, I still think maybe we should have another field for a promo code because that seems like such
Okay.
a universal thing that I would want to display on the page. Maybe even have, you see like the little copy icons that like
Yeah.
on those coupon
Yeah.
sites.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably not always like a number or anything like that. Probably just text is good. And then I would say we have to have a link, like your link
Yes.
specifically for it. So like
Is it redundant? So with these post types, to use the naming like tool URL, is that redundant when the post type is called tool?
you're saying like what you would write right here.
Yeah. I mean, my
So
tendency, my urge would be to call it tool URL, but I feel like maybe that's redundant.
well, for this one specifically, I would probably call it. I wouldn't call it that because it's like a specific. I would say like affiliate or like promo URL or something. If we're talking about the same thing.
So I'm thinking like all we need is one link per tool. I really don't, I can't think of one scenario in which I have a separate link for a deal, but then like a general affiliate link that I've never had that scenario.
This is the call to action link on
Yes.
this thing.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think we're going back and forth on semantics there a little bit of what it should be called. Let me answer your first question then. You're in the tools custom post type, you're
Mhm.
adding things. Should you preface these fields with tool?
Yeah, and like I don't know, specifically for URL, for some reason the thought of having a URL field in WordPress without that label just
Yeah.
feels very generic.
There's a couple, yeah. So there's a couple thoughts there. One, I mean, it's like a database question that I'm not like super familiar on, but like when you get in, we haven't seen any of this yet. Like there's a specific thing, I'll call it out. This is the exact same situation. There's like description, right? If you write description in there, there's a ton of different places where the word description could be used or could be like a field or something, right? So it'll do like a little bit of a different thing. I think it literally puts like an underscore before it or something like that just to change the actual name of it or the ID or something in different places. I don't think you have to worry about it. The problem that you might run into, depending on what page builder you out there are using, sometimes it just doesn't show up very easily on when you're picking the dynamic fields. A lot of times though, it literally is all segmented out and you can see like it'll say tools and it'll see all the things underneath it. So you really don't need to preface it.
Okay.
So, but now to go specifically to this, you're typing in URL. This is the URL. What is the URL that you're going to put in here? It's like a specific. It's not going to like slash hosting or horizons on their website. It's going to your affiliate link, right?
Correct.
Or your deal link to that.
Yes.
Okay. It's
So
going to
like,
that.
yeah.
So you're going to put your Craylor.link URL in this.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
I feel like I didn't fully get clarity on this whole free plan thing. The best way to do it. Would it work to do like the trial duration and assume, I guess like we assume if the field is empty, there's no trial. And if there's a number of days in there, we can display that. Or we could even
we can do that.
we could be like, if there's any data filled in there, we could just say, yes, it has a trial.
I mean, you could even say the actual dates. I mean, I wouldn't.
But I'm just saying,
I-
like, for flexibility, if we tracked like the duration of the trial in days, would we have the ability to boil it down to a simple yes or no based on if there are days entered or there aren't?
You're
Like if the
saying-
field has data versus it's empty.
Oh yes, I mean we could do all that. Yes.
Okay.
Let's quick step back though. The question becomes: do you want to display this data if sometimes your deals are associated with that type of information? Like, is there any that you
Yeah.
like get like an extended trial or extended free time or whatever? That would be one consideration I would have. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Potentially, yes. I mean, that I would probably just, to simplify it, I would put my deal trial duration in that field. And then under, what was the field that we made? Craylor deal, I would just write that in the description. Like, using my link, you get an extra whatever, extra
Gotcha.
2 weeks on the trial.
All right, let's do this. Let's update the post type on the right hand side. Just the blue button, just to
Oh,
save it.
yeah.
And then, all right, so let's come back down. So we want to get rid of the free plan then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Let's delete
Or this
that.
would, or I mean, do we delete it or do we just morph it into?
We can edit it. I think it's a little safer just delete it and then
Okay.
because this is an example. This is actually our first example of the whole delete metadata thing. If you were in ACF right now and you deleted that, you'd have to go into the database for some stupid reason and go find those fields and delete them.
My
I mean, you could
gosh.
possibly like edit them, but like if you ever need to delete one, then that's a pain in the ass. So now if
Yeah.
we click update post type again, it literally scrubbed that stuff from the database, so we don't have that
Sweet.
anymore.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep. So if we go add a new meta field now, then we can go free. So we're saying free trial duration is what we're saying.
Yep.
Lovely. So this is going to be a number,
Yes.
and we don't have to do anything special on the back. I mean, if you want to put minimum value of like 0, then you can.
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
see, I'm thinking like if there's no trial, I leave the field blank. I don't want to be
Yeah. It
forced to
won't
put...
be. It's not a default.
Oh,
It's just a
okay,
minimum.
okay. It's just
because it's not going to be negative. That's unnecessary, but that's
Yeah.
fine. And then step value, I would say 1. Again, I think it defaults to 1, but so no default value. Perfect.
Right.
So now what's going to happen is you're going to see that field. If you don't, and you can write description in the description here because you've been doing great notes. I would highly recommend to. I never do this, but like this is great practice to put little instructions in there. This is like if only put something in here if it has a trial. If it doesn't, we're going to make it work properly on the front end where you won't even you either like it'll be like something like free trial : and then the next thing will be like either the amount of days. Well, that's one issue. We'll come back to that in a moment. But it'll be like whatever the trial is, or if there's nothing in that field, then it will say no or no trial, or we can just hide the whole thing. Whatever you want.
Okay.
The one problem that I'm thinking already is this a number of days? You ever like? I mean, is that a problem with like months and days?
I don't know. I mean, if something's a
Probably not.
3-month trial, saying a 90-day trial, I think people can figure that out and be like, oh, 90 days, 3 months, cool. I don't feel the need to go
Semantics.
overboard and be like, well, as soon as it crosses 30 days, I want to start displaying that number in months instead of days. I think that's a bit overkill.
Gotcha. All right, so what do we got here? So we got our take. We have our price tier. Are we good with the price tier? Or we need a free still. Should we go add free to the glossary?
Yes, we do need free. That's a
Okay,
good
so
point.
then the way that's going to work though with that is it's a radio, so it can only be free, or it can only be 1 or only be 2.
Yeah.
Do we need to change that? I feel like that's not going to help us because you're going to click free on. Well, I don't know. Are you ever going to click free on something and it also is money, or are you going to do the thing where you only ever
the thing I'm still debating? It comes down to whether I really create a separate tool for everything all the time. If I create a tool per plan, then I'm never going to mix it. I would have a free. Let's just say like a web host doesn't have a free plan, but let's say they did. It would be like, WP Engine free would be a tool. And then like WP Engine startup would be a tool. I'm starting to second guess that approach. Maybe I should make it where I could list multiple plans like in the single. I don't know. It's like, do I get into price range? Is it like, if they have like a free plan and then the top plan I recommend is $2, like free to $2, is that silly?
I think now we're, especially in the tools area, like the best way to do this is to like literally think of examples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if we go, does your current website have anything like at least hints to how? I know it's not probably like fully where you want it to be, but like if you go to, any of them, can we like think through what this would look like? Because right now, okay, so yeah, you'd have something like this where you get to this section on the news site, and you have pricing on this, right? So it's like you're here, and you're looking at all the hosting, like your viewers, your audience is looking at all of the hosting that they could possibly get from you. Do you think it makes sense to have multiple different like hostinger plans on this page, multiple different DreamHost plans on this page, or it's tough?
It is tough. Yeah. I don't know. I think like, looking at this page, I'm like, this doesn't really give enough context. I'm simplifying it for the viewer, but DreamHost also has managed hosting that's $20 a month, and it's still good hosting. I would still recommend it if someone's interested. So I guess I don't know whether I should keep this simplified view and just boil it down to one thing for the audience, or go more the approach of, I think of like Host Phobia. Tony Teaches Tech, shout out to him. This is his website. But, he's got like kind of these blanket recommendations, but then if you click it, okay, well, this is interesting. So he just has like from. Maybe that's the way to do it. And then he's got a pricing table down here, which I don't think I'm going to go this detailed with my data entry. But yeah, honestly, maybe like from. I guess from free sounds weird, but I mean, we could be like from $0. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that might be the approach.
The only other thing I would think about from more of a branding business side of things is like, what is your actual goal with this? Like, do you want your hosting page, for instance, to be like really tight and only have like a few recommendations that you have at any given time? Or, because I know how we work, sometimes we work with people and it's like, then we try and then we're like, oh, we found something better. Like, do you anticipate taking people off the list and keeping this always like a really tight thing? Or do you plan on like, I don't know how many you have here now, 7 or so? Like, do you plan on you keep on adding more as you find them, or what's your thought?
I am thinking keeping it pretty tight. I think part of my value as a creator is I am very editorial. So while it is tempting to kind of balloon the list and, well, let me just add it to my website if it's decent. Ultimately, I do not want to be doing that.
So it's going to be tight.
Yeah, I almost this is a kind of a silly example, but like WordPress.org, they have their recommended hosts, and it's so tight that it's like a big deal when it changes. It's not going to be. First of all, no one follows me that closely. Second of all, I have more than 3 hosts listed, but I almost kind of want it to be that, at least from my perspective. Like for me, it is a big deal if I change something on the list. It's not just a casual like, let me list every single host that I've tried once just to list it.
Okay, so do you think this is the amount that you probably have on there, or would you even like be smaller than this?
I would say probably about this amount.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think in this case, if you're only going to have less than 10, then maybe you say like, okay, I got an idea. Perfect idea for you. Go back to that for a real quick second.
Sure.
Here's what we do. We have web hosting, something like this, right? Like tools, web hosting, like whatever the URL ends up being. Like if this is a page, if this was structured like everything, it's technically an archive of a category within a taxonomy. So it'd be like tools categories or something like that. And then you would have like hosting, right? And then that would be the archive, right? So that'll be what this page is. Here's what we can do. Every one of the tools is going to be related. We didn't get to relations yet. Every one of the tools is going to be related to a partner, right?
Yes.
So this is what we'll do.
Oh, listing the partners?
Something like this. We'll do a nest. What's called a nested. I'm pretty sure it's nested. I have to think about it more so. But basically, think about it like this. Let's say, for any of these, do you have like 2 products that you would want to do, or 2 tools, like maybe 2 hosting or things?
Yeah. And I haven't listed that because I don't want to overcomplicate the UI, but I have stuff that I would say about multiple
we
plans.
can think of a nice way to make this happen, but at the absolute bare bones minimum is we list, think of it as like a loop of all of the partners that are associated with this. So it would be, in this case, it would be Hostinger, DreamHost, Kinsta, etc. Right? So you have, I'm not going to design this right now, but it's literally like headings, right? So it's like
Yeah.
Hostinger, DreamHost, Kinsta, WP Engine. Then that's like one loop. But within those individual things, you are looping and you're querying the tools associated with those partners. So you'd
Okay.
have like Hostinger, and then right underneath those, you'd have like two cards that are like, the first product and the second product, like the first Hostinger product and the second Hostinger, tool or whatever. And then, with DreamHost, you could have the same thing. Kinsta, you could have the same thing. And it's all dynamic. You don't have to do anything. But my point is, like, if you went through this right now, can you give me a number just off the top of your head for each one that you have, like each tools? Like, let's assume these are the partners, right? Because these are the big brands. How many tools for each of these?
Honestly, most of them is 2.
Okay.
Some of them are just 1.
Okay. When you have 2 recommendations, is it because one is like the bare bones and one of them is like better, or how are you distinguishing that?
Yeah, it's either like bare bones and more powerful, or it's different product categories. It could be a WooCommerce specific plan and then just a general WordPress plan. It's probably one of those 2 scenarios.
All right. The only other thought that I have to complicate this even more is that if that secondary one is like the normal thing, then you could say like web hosting. Is this what the brands do? They say like web hosting, and they say like e-commerce hosting. But
yeah, that's
that's
a possible option.
Yeah. All right. That's a little weird. But okay, so I think we have this kind of like slightly intact. If we go back to what we were doing, so we could kind of wrap up here. We got off on a slight tangent there, but I think it was beneficial. We were talking about the free thing, like the actual free plan. If you want to have some level of a free thing and you also want to have like price tiers or whatever, we're going to need another field for that. So, we could do similar to like how we did with the free trial, I suppose.
So in addition to price tier, because that would be a way of calling out, yes, they have a free version, but this is also the number of $signs for the paid products.
If you wanted to do it that way, like that particular product is kind of what you would say, or we just get rid of the price tier thing again, like we thought of before, and you do what Tony has and what you have now, where it's like starts at. I'm
really torn. I'm kind of leaning towards the from idea, starts at.
Why don't we sleep on it? Because we have to go. You have to go anyway.
Yes.
So, but I think we made some really good progress in this one. If you want to just delete that one and then just do update post type. Just as a quick recap of where we're at then is we pretty much have all of our post types created. Obviously, they're going to change a little bit here and there with some of the stuff, especially once you get on the front end. We didn't get to the options or anything, but the options are going to be really straightforward, and it's going to help tremendously once we have the logos and everything like that, because a lot of that is just like your specific brand data kind of is that's a good way to organize all of those things. And then I think I want to say I'm always ahead of where we're at here, but I think in our next one we could start like really thinking about some of the level of templating too, because that'll probably be some of the first places we start. Also didn't do the relations, so that'll be a huge one, and it'll really start to come together. Yeah, as soon as we do that. So yeah, I think this has been another great episode, Christian. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to let us play with your site here.
Yeah,
it's been
and likewise.
A good time. Yeah, we got the content flowing here. So appreciate you guys watching. As always, thank you so much. And we will talk to you in the next episode.